Hey everybody, welcome to Nerfcast. I'm Josh.
And this is Sean.
Guest starring B.F.U.
Just steal our thunder of letting us introduce you and just sneak in.
You guys paused.
Under the radar.
He capitalized on weakness. He sensed it.
That happened. But yes, B.F.U. Some of you know him from, we've had some videos of him. You may remember some pictures of barrels and under barrels.
Barrelception.
Yes. Yeah, that was this guy right here.
We need to go deeper.
Always deeper.
Yes. Wong. That's the Inception noise. It sounded like something else. I apologize for that. But
it was like a bad
that's what I was going. That was like freaking like the wolf from the old like cartoons back in the day, seeing like a hot redhead. Wong, and he goes all sharp.
Wow.
That's the sound effect I made.
Fastest de-evolution of a conversation in Nerfcast history.
Josh hits me normally for doing this.
You don't understand. You weren't here with the pre-record with Bobo Lolo.
Yeah, that was like an hour and a half of us just talking and shooting the breeze.
It's like, so we're going to do the Nerf guy. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's talk about this other stuff. It was tons of fun recording with him, though.
Oh, yeah.
But off topic a lot.
Yes.
That happens.
Like we're going right now. So, guys, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about, well, let's start this off the way we start off everybody that we have on the podcast. Secret Nerf origin.
Oh, thank God you remembered, because I don't listen to this podcast.
All right, so funny thing is, I did not play with Nerf guns as a kid. I don't know why I didn't play with Nerf guns as a kid, but it just didn't happen for me. A lot of GI Joes, but no Nerf guns. So, I played laser tag, played paintball. I've played airsoft, and so I met Josh a couple years ago playing a game called HeroClix. If you don't know what it is, look it up. I happen to own a store that sells HeroClix, where we do some filming for some things.
And what is the name of that store?
Shameless plug. Heroes and Dice in Fremont, California.
Yep.
Heroesanddice.com. And Josh was talking about Nerf, and I always wondered every summer why half my HeroClix players can't show up every week to games. And I found out they play Nerf, and I'm like, what do you mean play Nerf? They're like, we play Nerf. Like, we play Capture the Flag and Hats and Assassin. And I'm like, word? So I was like, all right, this sounds stupid. How much fun could it possibly be? Well, Josh and Sean roll up to the store with a complete arsenal of stuff. And we start shooting the guns outside. And then two weeks in a row, we had a mini Nerf war in the dark at Heroes and Dice. And $2,000 later, I am definitely deep in the game.
Yeah, I have never seen anyone just roll out and spend so much on Nerf. Like, the next day, he was like, I dropped like $300 on Nerf blasters. I'm like, $300? That's everything that's out, and then some.
That's not even including the day where it's like, Josh, here's some money. You go to Target right now and just buy everything you can find.
Oh, that did happen.
Yep.
That happened.
That's how you got your crossbow.
That is how we got the crossbow, which we will talk about later, because
Yeah,
that
thing is mad fun.
and 10 stripes.
So then I changed my schedule around a little bit this year once it became time for Nerf War. I think you guys are one of the only places I can see online that hosts a monthly game. You guys, the guys in San Francisco. It's funny how all the monthly games are concentrated to the Bay Area. Must be something about the weather or the people.
We're special.
All right.
So you guys having monthly games is awesome because it keeps people engaged in it. Me being a person that has a lot of hobbies, I like when stuff currently always going on. And that's kind of my secret origin, how I got into Nerf. Thank you guys for ruining my future children's college funds.
Yeah.
Or setting them back at least a couple of years. I appreciate that.
Hey, but you know what? They'll love you because you'll have Nerf guns to play with as when they're kids.
Yes, that is true.
But if I have my way, they'll all be too powerful and put a kid's eye out.
Yes.
That's,
It means no one will mess with them. It means they're in charge.
It's true.
Yep.
Very true.
Yep. Through you, we will bring up the next generation of Nerfers.
So that kind of brings up the subject of today's show too. We want to talk about modding, and modding is one of those things that can definitely help damage small children.
Damage small children. If you shoot them or Sean in the groin area, you may damage small children.
Yes.
As I found out at the game this past week, you can damage adults too.
Yes.
God dang.
Someone got shot with a single Titan and got a bruise.
Yeah.
That'd be me.
I was shot with a Titan that was unmodded in the face from a foot away. Let me tell you about how happy I was about that. I yelled at some people.
Was it single?
It was no. It was
Yeah,
the
that was a
giant
big
missile.
Oh.
And the guy was like about as far away as I am from you right now. It was like, now is the right time for me to shoot this Titan right into your nose.
See, that's kind of funny.
I was mad about it. I was like,
Yeah.
why would you do that? And he was like, I was aiming for your shoulder. How do you miss from a foot away?
Oh, you haven't.
Like, if you want to shoot me in the face, shoot me in the face. But don't say I was aiming for your shoulder when you hit me square in the nose.
You play Nerf. You know how you can miss from a foot away. Don't lie.
With
Not
with
with
a
a-
Titan?
with a Titan.
Titan rocket.
I can figure it out. There's mathematics involved.
Yeah, that's called aiming the wrong way. That's how you miss.
I know the person that shot him, so
There's a movie called Wanted that kind of addresses this. All you have to do is curve the bullet and you're set.
There you go. Bullet curving. But, I mean, so there's some different things when it comes to modding. There's the tactical mod, and then there's practical mods. There's sort of, there's the let's make everything look really pretty, but also be functional. And it's a lot of work. And, I mean, we're talking about more than just internals. We're talking about, obviously, underbarreling things, adding some cosmetic mods that are also functional.
cutting.
Yeah, cutting things, cutting the shells of blasters, not just throwing in springs and stuff like that.
Right. Because I feel like the entry-level mod a lot of people get into is they look online, they see kits like Orange Mod Works has a kit.
Yeah.
They replace the plunger tube. They give you a stronger spring. They give you a way to reinforce the catch for the spring. That's kind of modding 101 in my books, where you're given this little guide. You can go and you open up your blaster. It's very much replace these 3 pieces, and then you have a stronger blaster, and you're all set to go.
Yeah.
That's really easy to do. So I'm not going to say it's really easy to do. I've been inside Retaliators for like an hour because I can't figure out one thing. Where I'm like, I put everything back in the way I found it, but for some reason it no longer primes. Let's open it up again, try it again. Okay, I think I fixed it. Close it. Okay, let's try it again. Nope. Okay, let's open it back up again, and just this cycle begins. But after you get familiar with the blaster, that's when you start doing the more interesting mods, where you start doing aesthetic mods, you start doing different shells, integrating other blasters, and that to me is more interesting, I guess, as far as a modding discussion goes, than just throwing in a stronger spring.
And then I think you got the middle ground, right? Which is kind of what I do. Is so if you look at what I've modded, there's no cutting, a little bit of drilling, but definitely no cutting. I kind of set out to. I saw all the cool ones online, and I said, "Wow, I really like to do this, but I don't have the time. Work a long hour job, and cutting through blasters. I was like, what if I want to use it again? What if I get bored of it?" So then what happened was we just started screwing around with Retaliator barrels and figured out that is by far the most awesome thing to underbarrel on, because you can just fit all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah.
And then I got the kit from Slydev that uses that attaches the guns, and I put it on the rough cut and it broke. So not their fault. It's the plastic that's in 3D printing. It's just not great. Mm-hmm. I said, wait a second. What if I use this as a space? But I saw the spacing on it and realized, I don't have to cut this thing. I don't have to cut the handle on it. Nothing. So I fixed the divider, threw some more zip ties. I know people don't like zip ties, but it's like the duct tape of Nerf modding. You just use zip ties for stuff. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then voila, a whole bunch of underbarrel things were born. I don't call them master keys because I don't want to get trolled.
Yeah.
You will mess around and get trolled if you call the wrong thing a master key. It doesn't have a grenade launcher M96 on it.
That happens.
It does happen.
Especially
I
on Reddit.
do want a grenade launcher from Nerf, though. BT dubs.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Nerf
Just
grenades.
get a spud cannon, throw some Nerf footballs in there, and you're set.
So that's really how the modding thing happened. I started out with that. I did do one of the Orange Mod Work kits on my long strike. Well, Josh and I did it, and wow, was I ever pissed.
So here's the problem with that. B.F.U. came into the scene right as the Elite stuff was coming out. So he got to see all these Elite blasters, and then he tried doing an Orange Mod Works kit on a long strike, and he just wasn't impressed. I'm like, yeah, you realize that them getting close to what the Elite ranges are now was a vast improvement.
There was no before. There's only now.
Only Zool.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, there's only a B.F.U, not B.B.F.U.
There we go.
So, but some of the stuff we tried out, I think is kind of interesting, right? We took that. If any of you haven't picked one up, I know it's expensive, but the NXT Crossbow at Toys R Us is awesome.
Yeah.
And we were kind of surprised at how awesome it was. Remember, we had a long debate. We were like, this isn't going to work. And we put a dart in it, and it was like, oh, wow.
I remember Josh and I were at the Toys R Us, and we had never seen these blasters before, because a lot of the Toys R Us is by where we live. Very picked over, not very much left. So we went to one. It was a big Toys R Us. And they had all these old blasters you haven't seen, really. These newer ones that kind of are around, but not totally, like the NXT stuff. Yeah. And when we saw it, there were two blasters. There was a crossbow and there was a regular bow. And Josh and I looked at both of them. I was like, okay, there's some potential in the bow just because it's a giant plunger. So you can mod that. You can like make the air seal a little bit tighter. You can have the elastics that are actually moving the plunger back and forth be a little bit tighter so it slams in quicker. There's potential here. It might be really good. Looked at the crossbow and we're like, how does this even work? It just has a little slot that you pop the dart into. It's got a little elastic that just launches it in, and I'm like...
It's a real crossbow. That's basically what it is.
But the problem is when you're dealing with foam darts, it's going to flip over. There's nothing keeping it sturdy in there. I don't understand the physics of it.
Yeah, plus the darts were, like, really large so that the string would hit the dart and push it forward. We're like, this probably isn't even going to work with elites. So we get back, and the bow is just terrible.
It's horrible.
Oh,
imagine
so trash.
Imagine like a heartbreaker bow, but like 10 times worse.
Yeah.
Where it's like you shoot it, it goes a foot, and it's like, I'm done.
Yeah, it hurt our hearts.
Yeah.
So we had no expectation for the crossbow. We fire one across the room because we're inside, and it hits the wall with a nice thud. Just like a...
Yeah.
And we're like, no. And then on top of it off, it's super accurate.
Yeah.
Like bullseye accurate. We were like, oh. So we take it outside, start shooting it, and it's getting 80 plus feet easy.
Yeah.
And we start angling it, and we're like, oh my God. Problem is, no way to keep it in, right? Can't keep it. It's hard to keep it chambered. You have misfires. But there's some potential there. And that was actually the first thing that got me thinking about modding.
Right.
Was that crossbow. I was like, all right. And then somehow I ended up doing my strife, rewiring it, reading about that online. I think that's probably like a level 2 mod is rewiring your blasters. But, I mean, for a guy that just started, I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Oh, yeah, blasters.
I don't follow.
Yep. You wouldn't. It's okay. It's over your head.
Yes.
I'll explain it to you.
But I'm taller than you.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I know Josh is a little bit of a mod gnome. And that's not a reference to his height. It's just he's a mod gnome.
Or to laser gnome.
Or to laser gnomes.
Or to
Who
laser
also
gnomes.
creates mod kits for stuff.
What have you done, Josh? What's some of the mods you've pulled off?
I mean, I'm one of those guys that does the orange mod work stuff, and that's kind of my big thing. I throw in a spring, do that. Lately, I just started finding springs and putting them in old blasters. It took me a minute to get it back together, but I had a fire strike sitting around, and it was busted. Like the little laser pointer part was busted off, and somebody had left it at one of our games. I was like, "What can I do with this?" I know, I'll just go through my springs and see what I find that fits in here. So instead of swapping out the springs like a smart person, I'm like, I'll just do a spring addition because I don't think I have any good springs in here. Start putting it together, just put a random spring, and I'm like, where did I get this spring? It's really hard to get this blaster back together. And I realized I went onto SG Nerf last year and bought 2 springs for my Retaliator, because I wanted one for the Retaliator and one for the Rampage. I never put the one in the Rampage. That's the one that I use in addition to the regular Fire Strike spring. So it's a little difficult to pull that back, and I'm sure that if I try to run it in a game, it's probably going to just break. But
It'll explode.
yeah,
Let's be honest.
It shoots streamlines, like they just start twirling out. You have to use like whistlers or taggers or something like that, because the weight just isn't there on regular streamlines. But we've got so after I did that, I just started doing blasters where I was like, all right, let's just add some CPVC inserts or brass inserts, get that seal nice and tight, start throwing things around. I've just been having tons of fun messing with stuff. Triple shots, Panthers.
And here's the thing with Josh, too. He loves to paint. He loves doing custom paint jobs on his blasters, too. What are some of the ones you've painted?
The first one that I painted was a Alpha Trooper. and I wanted to go green. The store didn't have a whole lot of green. There's not a lot of things.
He doesn't mean eco-friendly, by the way. He means he wanted to go with the color green.
Yes, that was... There we go. So, I'm like, well, what? This is back in the day, blasters are yellow and orange, right? So I'm like, all right, don't want to go yellow and orange. I don't remember if I knew if the Elite line was coming out at this point, but I didn't really want to go blue. So I'm like, oh, let's go green. They only had like this forcey green. I like darker greens, not like a light neon. I'm like, unfortunately, they don't have any paint that goes with this green. If I go red, it's going to look like a Christmas tree, you know. So I found this sort of tan beige color and ended up going with that, and then some of the orange pieces because I didn't want it. I still wanted to keep that orange or red per like California law, and painted all the orange pieces red, and it actually ended up looking like Boba Fett's armor.
Yep.
Nice.
So called it the Boba Fett blaster.
Yep.
Nice.
And then after that, it was just like I have so much spray paint and paint at my house now. I'm painting blasters that aren't in the Elite line. Like I started modding a triple shot and painted it all blue. I actually found 2 different blues that you use a base coat on one and then a light coat on the other to try to get that Elite blue, because I don't know where Nerf, what they use to paint things, but it's friggin' impossible to find the same blue. It's not even on their old blasters. Like the long shot isn't the same blue as the Elite blue.
Yeah, it's a darker shade of blue.
So it's frustrating, but it's fun.
Yes.
He did a Captain America blaster for me.
I did do a Captain America blaster.
I thought you were going to mention that sooner.
I was going to let it use his blaster.
Did a Captain America stripe for me. Came out freaking fantastic.
It wasn't hard. All I did is have to paint all the orange red.
Don't ruin the mystique.
Okay.
Make it beautiful.
What about you, Mr.
I dry
Sean?
brushed it.
I have no idea what I'm doing all the time with Nerf. No, but seriously, like a lot of the times when I first started getting into modding stuff, it was just going with the orange mod work kits just because, like Josh mentioned, when you're going back to pre-Elite lines, ranges sucked horribly. So when we first started doing Nerf Wars, it was like 10 feet, and then that's all you could get.
The dark times.
It was really disappointing because like you would think you'd have someone dead to rights, and then you wouldn't. I've seen a lot of plays where someone like sneaks up behind a player, by all means should get him, and then it's just like, nope, Dart's not going to behave well. So then the Elite line comes out, and it's like, oh cool, we really don't need these orange mod work kits as much anymore because Elite stock is getting what we got before. Yeah. So for a while, I really just stopped modding altogether. What I started actually going towards more, because Plunger Tube System pretty much solved what I wanted for Elite ranges, was doing voltage mods on a lot of blasters. For example, I remember when the Raven came out, a little bit before the Elite line came out, I was in love with this blaster from day one just because I'm like, hey, I want to run 2 blasters in each hand. I can't prime both easily. Like there are certain mods you can do where you tie strings onto them that kind of like pull as you put your hands forward. I'm doing this motion no one can see except Josh and B.F.U. But I didn't really like that because it feels like, oh, it's awkward. You don't have the same level of control as you would with a flywheel blaster.
Right.
So I was like, okay, cool. What mods can I do here? And then you start opening up the blasters, and you can do electrical tape mods around the gears to have them grip onto the dart a little bit better. But the biggest one you can do, honestly, is voltage mods. It's going into the blaster, getting specialized batteries, either getting like rechargeable batteries, getting lipos. You can get like Trust Fire, Ultra Fire batteries and just slap them right in.
14500 is the size, right?
14500 is the size, yeah. So if you're looking to do it for double A's, that's the size you're going to go with. And I slapped 4 of those into the blaster. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. They're like howling like crazy. They're firing super far and super fast. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm running with 2 blasters. I'm just like freaking just going at it like crazy and just firing left and right. And then they stopped turning on. And I'm like, why is this happening?
No, before that, they started smoking.
Oh, yes.
That was awesome.
So the first game I modded, I'm like, oh, it says 4 is a little excessive. And then I started like shooting, like, oh, nothing's coming out. And then I see this puff of smoke come out of the top of my blaster, not even the barrel, out of the top of the blaster. I'm like, oh, I'm switching back into the Alpha Trooper for the rest of the day.
Were these pre-Elite Ravens?
These were pre-Elite. So these were the old, like, glow-in-the-dark green kind of Ravens. Yeah. So they could not handle that higher voltage. So that's when I started making dummy batteries to go into my blasters as well, and being really picky about the voltage I would put into my blasters because I don't want to kill anything. I definitely want, and I've said this on the show before too, I want blasters that are reliable. If I take them to a fight, I know how they're going to perform. I know how they're going to work. They're not going to crap out in the middle of a fight for me and leave me stranded alone with no way to defend myself.
That was definitely a thinly veiled shot across my bow. So I let Sean borrow my Strife for HVZ. My Strife has solar robotics motors in it. Now, somehow, I'm not saying it's Sean's fault. It stopped working for him, but Josh can attest, and so can Sean. It's never stopped working for me during one of our Nerf games. So it must not have liked having a new puppa.
Yeah.
It's either that or, honestly, HVZ, you're doing so much more running, I might have like knocked something out weird.
No, but it worked. I didn't even have to open it back up to get it to work. So I don't know what happened. But speaking of which, so I think that's the next mod up, right? So you start with the voltage mod with the batteries.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you kind of move on to taking your locks out, specifically out of the flywheel blasters. All the door locks, the hammer locks, whatever locks you got.
All the locks.
All the locks. Then you rewire it. And if you're going to rewire it, I'm just going to throw a quick plug in there. I know that the Nerf community is split on the inexpensive solar robotics motors. If you don't know what those are, look them up. I have used them now in 3 different blasters, and I've had no problems. Now, the thing is with those, you can't voltage mod them.
Mm-hmm.
They're already revving really high, and sticking 2 voltage batteries, first of all, doesn't make any sense because the darts can only come out so fast, and they can only do so much velocity before they get out of control. So that's 1. 2, you can use rechargeable Energizer batteries and save yourself a lot of money by doing these motors. Buy a pack of 20, they cost $2 a motor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Super cheap.
Super cheap. Not really hard to do. Same size as the current motors they are now, except for the Stockade. The Elite Stockade has completely different motors. Do not try it. It won't work.
Do not buy a Stockade.
Yeah, I think that Coop is using solar robotics motors, isn't he? Or was at some point. I don't know if he still is.
I think he moved on to some higher end stuff.
He might have.
From race cars, but people said they're having problems with them. I personally have had no issues. I have a Strife that has been motor modded for at least 6 games.
Yeah.
Sean had to mess out once, but I think that was my bad wiring job over the actual motors. I've never had the motors crap out.
Yeah.
So,
and it could be a small thing like locks in certain areas too, because with that blaster, when I was running around with it, I'm like, this should be firing fine. I know it's fully charged. So I did all things like I pulled out the magazine, made sure there's no darts just sitting in the barrel or anything like that. Redid it, removed the dart from the top because sometimes bad darts can kind of make it register wrong,
or bad wiring on the creator's part.
I'm trying hard not to blame you right now.
Hey, you know what? It was my first one. My Raven. I've done a Raven since. That thing, Josh has used that thing. That thing shoots really nice.
Ravens are good.
I do like the Raven.
I like the Raven. So what people forget about the Raven is, and I've explained this to a few people. People like to put barrels, the retaliator barrel on it. Understand, you already have a barrel on the blaster. You just can't see it because the flywheels sit in the back of that blaster.
Right.
So for almost the whole length of the blaster, you already have a barrel that it's shooting out of. So you're double barreling so understand if you do that. I've read some reviews and they've been like, oh, if you put a retaliator barrel, the range is decreased. Well, yeah, because you're double barreling it.
Yeah.
So someone calls it dart drag. I think that's a thing.
Dart barrel. Yeah.
I read it on the interwebs.
Yep.
Dart drag. But and then I think Sean, you did a under barrel yourself, didn't you?
Yes, I stole the idea from you.
But we didn't get to show it on the video that we just put up because neither one of us had it. So
yeah, I took mine apart because I just wanted to run my Alpha Trooper again. Once again, what's awesome about zip ties? So this integration, B.F.U is the one who came up with it, and I ran it at one of the games, and I loved it, and I stole the idea for my blaster. Is I had a Strife, attached a barrel onto the top of it, and then did a underbarrel attachment for the Alpha Trooper with it. And I know what you're thinking, Sean, you devilishly handsome man. Why would you do this when you could just put a rough cut underneath it, and that's more like a typical, more wheelie version of the underbarrel attachment? Because you get way more shots out of the Alpha Trooper when you put it underneath your blaster. For example, I'm shooting. Oh no, I'm out of shots with the Strife. What am I going to do? I have 18 rounds ready just to slam fire as quickly as I can.
You got to be tall to use that design.
You got not even tall. You need long arms.
You need a wingspan.
You need a good wingspan.
Yeah, if Josh were like 5 feet taller, it wouldn't matter because his arms are still the same size.
Yeah, then I'd be 5 feet.
You'd be a really
velociraptor.
It's okay. He's smart.
Yes.
Clever girl.
So I think everybody in the room is pretty much done at least a few mods.
Yep. Yep.
I I've done other voltage mods too. Like, for example, this is the one I love to do because I'm lazy. With certain new blasters coming out, like for example, the Rapid Strike. Back in the day when I was running the Stampede, because I wanted a full auto blaster, and that was the only real option I had available to me, I bought AA to D converters, created some dummy batteries out of those, and put the Ultra Fire batteries in there.
Yep.
And that's how I did my voltage mod for it. And then I also opened it up, put in a stronger spring too. That thing is still really fun to this day, honestly.
Have you run that in a game?
I've run it a couple times.
You need to bring it back. I've heard a lot of people attest to using it as opposed to the Rapid Strike.
Well, it's because the Rapid Strike, don't get me wrong, is a spiritual successor to the Stampede.
Right.
But their internals are completely different. You're going from a plunger system to a flywheel.
Versus plungers preference.
I'm just going to go on record and saying I am less than impressed with the Rapid Strike.
Yeah, I think it has its place, but honestly, if you have... So we run team-based games, and you know what, we have 10 to 15 people per team. If you have 10 or 15 people on each team running Rapid Strikes, if you have a couple of people running Rapid Strikes, it makes sense. So last time we played, we had a couple of people on our team. I think me and B.F.U were on a team, and Sean was on the other team.
Yep.
We had a couple of people that were running Rapid Strikes, and they were good for getting certain people out that had certain other blasters. So, I mean, there's blasters that we have there that are distance. Like, obviously, we mentioned a single Titan. We got people running, what are they, Hailfires. We got people that are running, Alpha Troopers. So, having somebody who can run up and just spam a bunch of darts it's helpful. It's just when everyone's doing it, it just isn't that impressive. It doesn't fit my playstyle.
In small firefights, because I was watching it was Kimball.
Kimball
was using the Rapid Strike.
Yes.
Sorry, I almost said Rapid Fire.
Yeah.
It's a Rapid Strike that has Rapid Fire. Anywho, when I was watching him use it, when he was in small engagements with one other person, having the burst fire on it, super nice.
Right.
Because you can be like, 3 shots, I'm probably going to hit you with one of those 3 shots. That's the downfall of the Strife. With a voltage mod, it's still semi-auto, so you have to still wait for it to click through. You don't want to try and click it too quickly, because then you're going to get darts not firing out. But with the Rapid Strike, because it's full auto, once you do a voltage mod to it and get everything working good inside of it, you can do quick burst fire, get your shots, get them off quickly, have a good enough grouping where you can probably hit whatever you're trying to hit.
Yeah.
With the Strife, I still feel like I'm pegging trying to get lucky shots, but I can do it faster than I can with a plunger blaster. But with the Rapid Strike, because I can go in fast and get that small little burst into the area,
right,
good enough. But only if I'm aiming for one person. If there's a mob of people and I'm trying to get all of them with a Rapid Strike, good luck, you're not going to get anyone.
True.
If they're if they're being smart and spread out, if they're all in a clump together, you have 10 people in a clump, you're going to hit them with anything, so it doesn't matter.
That's true.
What kind of changed? So it's funny you bring that up. I know we weren't planning to talk about this, but I used to be Captain Flywheel.
You did.
I was like, I had flywheels on flywheels. I own, how many stripes do I own, Josh?
He has like
6?
At least 6.
6 or 7 stripes.
Yeah.
Which will be for sale at the next Nerf game, most of them.
Oh, dude, just give them to Josh and have him paint them. We can have more Avengers.
We tried that.
We were trying to do that. It's just,
we're just going to sell them.
Well, I can paint your stripe for you then.
Yay.
So, anyways, I was Captain Flywheel. Stoked about the Rapid Strike. Came out, all the ones I got from Walmart and I pre-ordered, all broke.
Yep.
That was a thing. From Walmart specifically, all the ones that got shipped early broke.
And you weren't isolated. A couple of our other players ordered them too. It's like, yeah, this one had like bandage tape around it when I opened it up. The other one didn't open up. Like the one I opened up didn't work right out of the box.
Yeah, from Walmart. Every single one of them.
Good job, Walmart.
So that wasn't it. It was this past Nerf game when we brought in. So our last Nerf game. So the Nerf game before this, everybody had Rapid Strikes. Everybody had Elite Alpha Troopers. Mm-hmm. I was the only one with the blacklisted Centurion. Damn you, Nerf. And this past game, everyone kind of pulled back a little bit, and a lot of Hammershots came out. So this is going to be my shameless Hammershot plug for the day. We were on it, Josh and I were on a team, and we had one flywheel blaster versus a team of mostly flywheel blasters, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And we played King of the Hill. So a game where you would think having ammunition and fast strike capability, good base defense spamming, the flywheels would just own you. Yeah, it didn't happen that way. We beat them by a quarter of a game in time with a bunch of pistols and single shot blasters. And I don't think we were that much more skilled than the other team. I just think the firepower was, I think it was overrated for, and the rapid strikes, people use it. It's cool. I'll take my Strife over it. Yeah. I'll take the Strife over it, but yeah, I've switched off the flywheel. I'm done. I'm going hammer shots and shotguns.
Yeah.
Hammershot, it's amazing how popular it is. No, because it's not even that I thought it was going to be a bad blaster. I just didn't care. Like, when I first heard about it, I'm like, oh, that's kind of a cool-looking grip.
Well,
whatever.
because we already have the strong arm.
We have the strong arm already.
Yes.
So, like, why do we need another freaking, oh, look, it cocks back with one hand. Whoop-de-doo. And then I get my hands on it, I'm like, this is really nice.
Yeah.
He gets his hands on it and goes, it cocks back with one hand. The light bulb goes off like, wait a second. I can run two.
Well, you got to keep in mind, when I first got in the Nerf, when I had the Ravens, I had two of them. I'm like, this isn't super accurate. It's kind of bulkier.
Because the only way that we've been able to mostly dual wield has been with flywheel blasters. So the accuracy is the only other thing is the Snapfire 8, which I don't like. I think it's uncomfortable.
They look
Some
really?
people run it.
Well, I
The
mean,
Sapphire 8, it's not the most comfortable.
They look like garden
it's like
hoses.
this giant big nozzle in the front, and
I have one I use every day at work.
I'm just saying, running it, it's hard to fit into a.
Yeah, it's definitely a bulkier blaster, and because the priming mechanism is in the trigger, it is kind of a far reach for your trigger finger to get around and pull it in.
I got tiny hands. We've been over this.
Yes, you've been in the Burger King commercial.
I mean, it looks like
iPhone,
I've seen the Snapfires. It looks like a garden hose nozzle.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
And I love
Like
garden
I said,
hoses.
it's not that it's bad. It's just not. I don't like it. The
I think-
aesthetics of it aren't as nice.
I think it's adequate as a secondary until you take a look at the Hammershot.
Right.
Because then it's ergonomics. It fits well into your hand. Even with
Right.
the fake tape around it, I don't think it's a big enough deal to really care about that.
I like the fake tape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people say, like, oh, I don't like it. It feels comfortable. For me, it goes right into, like, the palm of my hand. So it kind of helps me grip into it a little bit more. Plus, my thumb perfectly goes back and pulls it back with one hand. It's smooth. It feels right.
And for the people that don't like the way the tape fits, go buy a Sweet Revenge. It's the same thing,
Yep.
but smaller.
Yeah. It pretty much
So
is.
what-
I prefer the Hammershot.
What impressed me with the Hammershot, and I wouldn't have known it until obviously running extensively. I think I ran it every game except one this past month. Was the accuracy is pretty good, and the distance is elite.
Yes.
I mean, that's the scary part. It's a pistol with elite distance. I mean, we converted people that don't buy new blasters. A couple of our guys that run the same blaster.
Yeah.
And after the game, they're talking and they're like, I might have to go get me some of that Hammershot. It's like the purple stuff.
$15 too.
Yeah.
That is a great price for a good blaster.
It really is.
I mean,
it really is.
If you look at 2013, we got a lot of stuff. I mean, I don't know what other years have looked like since this is my first year.
Right.
But I feel like we got a lot of product.
I only got started I think 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Is when I got my start, actually. Like almost to the day, actually.
I feel like you
in a
guys are
couple
just so far ahead of me.
Nope.
No, here's the thing. When I first got into Nerf, so I didn't grow up with Nerf blasters growing up either. I played video games because I'm a nerd.
I got everyone into Nerf. That's what this is boiling down to.
We talked about my origin story, I think, on the podcast where Josh, we were going to a birthday party. It was my first Nerf 4, and he's like, get the Alpha Trooper. And I got it, and I loved it. Then I forgot I loved it for a while, like a bad husband. Then I came back. I'm like, baby, please, I'm sorry I was using the Strife for so long. I was entertained by her noisy
You
screams.
did rock Stripes mad hard when I first met you.
Yep.
Well, I don't dislike the Strife. Let me just say that right now. I still think it's a great blaster, performs well. The problem is I realized, I can't be as accurate as with my shots, and I would just take excess and try and shoot more. And the more and more I went with flywheel blasters, the more I was like, I need to have more ammo on me. So I made a setup where I'm running like 7 18-round magazines on my body just to accommodate the wastefulness I was getting with the flywheels. Once again, I'm not saying I dislike flywheel blasters entirely. The Strife is still a good blaster because it's small, it's mobile, it's quick, and it's great if you're on the run. In HVZ, I still think it's a great blaster too because I've been able to peg 5 zombies at once running just because I don't have to really pay attention while I'm shooting.
Right.
But that said, Alpha Trooper just I get better ranges. I feel like I have more control of my shots. Plunger blasters are great, and I think that's what everyone likes about the Hammershot. It's a simple one-handed blaster. A lot of the light feel that people like with the Strife, but with the accuracy you get out of plunger blasters
And elite ranges out of a pistol.
and elite ranges out of a pistol.
That you can dual wield.
Pistols are underestimated in Nerf, I think. Yeah. I think people start out with pistols and think they move up to the clip system and it's a better blaster.
Well, that's because you used to have the Maverick, which is just still a terrible blaster in my opinion.
It is.
I mean, it gets terrible ranges. There's not even, you can't even mod it. Like there's, I put 3 pennies behind the spring. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I don't care.
Well,
That's
American
still
currency makes everything better.
Yeah.
I put a $100 bill in all my blasters to make them work better.
That's right. That's why we call you Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
it's not because I sleep with French prostitutes.
No.
See?
No.
Well, now I can stop doing that.
Yep.
I'll save so much money that I can once again put into my blasters.
You can buy a Centurion.
Oh, yeah. I can fit so much wasted money into that.
Hold on.
Centurion?
Okay, you know what? Wait. I'm going to take a... You know what? I'm going to really get trolled on this, but...
No, it's the opposite of the Hammershot.
Here's
It is the
deal.
exact opposite.
Here's the polar opposite.
Here's the deal. Now, Josh can attest to this because we got the Centurion early.
Yep.
Before it was released through just some stupid luck and eBay and Craigslist. We traveled to get it. I paid a little more than what it costs. Not much, by $20. We got it to the house, and we were getting 80 to 100 solid feet.
Yep. Flat.
80 flat, and then we angled
Yeah.
it, got over 100, right?
Exactly.
We were over 100. It was like 103, 105. There were just some nuts.
Oh, when we started angling it, we were getting up to 130.
Yeah, it was
on
just, it was crazy power. The problem is, I still don't think the problem's the blaster. I know that's probably going to piss a lot of people off or make them upset. It's still the ammo to me. If the ammo was just a little more sturdy, the blaster would be fine. We wouldn't even be arguing about this. And because when you see it, you expect it to be 70 feet shooting out of the Centurion doesn't look like 70 feet out of a normal blaster because it's so big. There's a bit of an optical illusion to it. We walked off a couple 70s and 65s, and we were like, that didn't shoot far. We walk it off at 70 feet, we're like, that doesn't make any sense. It's because the gun's so big.
Yeah.
It makes you think it's just going to go just ridiculous.
Plus the priming on it, too. You're pulling it all the way back and all the way forward. You're like, okay, that's a huge windup. The pitch has to be awesome now.
But when we were getting great, we were playing with it. We revisited it the other day.
Yep.
And you could tell it's the darts.
You can. I'm not going to say it's the worst blaster that Nerf has ever come out with by any stretch.
Most disappointing.
For me, it was something, even before it came out, I knew I wasn't going to run because it's basically as tall as I am. So it just wasn't, again, running blasters, everybody sort of finds something that they enjoy. But after we were playing around with it, I was like, there's definitely a spot for this on the battlefield. But now just with the ranges just continue to decrease and the ammo just,
Yeah.
it dies quick.
I would love for Nerf to revisit the ammo and make it better. Because it sounds like my last start said he got to take a look at the Mega Centurion before the rest of us.
Right.
Like I think he mentioned, I don't know, I won't get into it. But he's seen the darts before the final product came out, and he mentioned that they were thicker. That the walls, in comparison to how a regular Elite Streamline looks, were almost ratio-wise the same.
Makes sense.
I have a feeling we got hosed by safety.
Yeah.
Because when we were first shooting it, brand new package, we were hitting the truck with it, and we checked my truck for dents.
I was going to say, we actually looked.
We had to look for dents in the truck.
Yeah, but that's the velocity of the bullet already as it is. I feel like more foam to it wouldn't make it fly harder or faster necessarily. A little bit, of course, because it's more momentum.
In short ranges, it'll be harder, though. Because
Yeah.
you're pushing a lot of air through a little space. So distance-wise, probably not. It might end up shooting less far. But in a short distance, you're going to get a much bigger punch because there's more air the air is expelling faster. Right? Smaller chamber, it's pressure, right? It's just it's smaller too. But I think I just gotta assume that's what happened. But those guys at Blaster Parts DE have did the 3D printing to mod it for Elite darts. And I don't know if you guys did you guys see the range tests?
I have not watched the range.
You didn't watch the range test?
Nope.
Wow. It's like a solid 95.
But is it accurate at all?
It was more accurate than I would have given it credit for.
Okay.
What I would like to see actually based on that is range tests are great, but as we saw with the Mega Centurion, I want to see how durable the darts are that are going into it. So we're going with regular streamlines, right?
Yeah, right.
Streamlines?
Regular elites. So the thing is, my thing with that is, even if the darts they're probably more durable than the
Mega
Megas,
darts.
right?
Yeah, just because of how they're built structurally.
Even if it ruins the darts a little faster, your ROF is so low on it, you won't chew through that many darts. And in like our games, we have so many darts as it is. I don't think it'll be. It won't be a deterrent.
Well, plus you can now have an 18-round magazine instead of a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
So you get
can,
more shots.
You can
the
pick up
ammo's
ammo
cheaper.
that people are shooting at you.
Right.
So you've got ammo. I mean, it's just more convenient.
I mean, I was big as disappointed because I really wanted a Nerf sniper rifle so bad. That's why I spent the money on the long strike, and I'm sure there's a lot of mod potential to it. I think a lot of people are gonna run it without the barrel.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because it's gonna be. We did that too. We got really good ranges without the barrel, but we couldn't. I mean, we're talking like 6 feet to the right or left.
Well, it might be because were you trying to slam the magazine into the blaster before putting on the barrel?
No, I read the instructions.
Okay, because that is important.
Yeah, we knew. Well, we knew about that going in. We were like, you push this thing, and it goes up. So, I mean, that was. Here's the thing. I don't think I've played with other Nerf blasters. It's just I think it's the biggest disappointment. Just like the Hammershot was like the biggest surprise. I mean,
It was like a sleeper hit.
It's like a close number 2 to the Elite Alpha Trooper for being Blaster of 2013.
God, I would.
Yeah.
That's hard because I love my Alpha Trooper best, but I'm like that because it's hard to articulate. Even just the design is original in the Hammershot.
So original.
It's odd because it's like an old Western revolver, but we're sitting here saying it's so original because I'm like, hey, Nerf, you've never come out with anything that actually primes this way that works like what you would imagine a real gun would work like.
My other problem is, so if I can get elite ranges out of a little pistol with that small of a prime,
right.
how are you not doing this for me and my bigger guns? How are we falling short on the Elite Spectre? The thing got okay ranges, but
So here's the thing. The Hammershot is a completely new model. So they can fit in whatever they want, however they want it. With the Spectre, they're still trying to put new internals into an old shell.
Yeah.
So they're trying to fit things in that may or may not.
It's an update, and that's why
it was made to use a reverse plunge. So here's the thing. Reverse plunger, the way it works,
Josh
there's
is pantomiming
less
this right
space.
now.
If you try to do a direct plunger, you have to just move things around
But I
and
don't
change.
see why they just didn't print up a new direct plunger model and do that and put it in the shell.
They probably will eventually.
Because that's, I mean,
But that's the thing. Putting it in the shell is what makes it.
they could have figured it out. They're just lazy.
No, the way you prime it, it is direct plunger now.
Yeah, and it's still not getting. That's my thing. I would just expected it to be. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Josh and I thought the Elite Spectre was going to be the new pistol when we bought it from Walmart. We were like, this thing is cool.
It is actually.
It's
Really
like
awesome.
getting like 60 feet. We're pretty straight. We were pretty excited. Like a week later, we're in the Hammershot mode, and we're like,
Yeah.
So. And the funny thing about the Hammershot is, which is interesting, all except a couple reviews have been glowingly positive.
Yeah.
I've only been at this for about a year, but I don't see that happen very often. Elite Alpha Troopers 1, I can think of where everyone just loves it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unless you don't like, regular, unless you're a flywheel.
Unless you don't like to be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that.
But Strong Arm was like, everybody's like, man, I want. Some guy did a magnet mod, so you can switch out his clips with. He magnetized the back, so he just takes the barrel out.
Oh, on the Hammershot.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you can
I
just
saw
swap
that.
the barrel when you're ready to go. I'm like,
I
that
was
is
like,
smart.
oh my god, this thing is awesome.
It is really cool, except for the fact that now I need to go buy like extra Hammershots to put new barrels. on
But
them.
if you know someone who knows how to 3D print, they could just make the replacement part for you.
Someone's working on that actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
3D print. So we have time to talk about a little bit about 3D.
We have all the time in the world.
Okay. You know, I don't know if you guys have really talked about 3D printing very much.
Not a ton.
So, since we're talking about mods, realistically, I think we are right now are on the cusp of the future of Nerf mods.
Yeah.
Like I said, I haven't been around a while, but I check the old forums and I do my back research. 3D printing is a thing,
Yep.
Yeah, it's starting to happen a lot more.
and I think as the plastic quality goes up,
Yep.
and I mean, people are just gonna. I mean, it's really a thing that if you guys the video for the Centurion
Yeah.
is like, wow, that's something right there. That's okay. That's like a real legitimate. That's not replacing parts. Like you're making a whole new thing to put in a blaster.
Yes, and I think even Nerf recognized that because with the Hammershot and the Zombie Strike line, the rail is different. And from what I've heard reported, slide dev rail attachments won't work.
Are you serious?
That's what somebody was saying on Reddit, was that slide dev rail attachments won't work, but Nerf rail attachments still do.
Actually, I have some insight into that. I've been doing some reading,
Oh.
and
It's almost like I'm happy I brought you on the show.
almost happened.
Almost.
So
We'll
you
get there.
know how Nerf license this year started relicense. Not that they've never done it before, but they're starting to license out some of their products.
Right.
Yes.
So someone dug up how the licensing works, and Rail
yeah.
attachments
Yep.
will not be licensed out
Yep.
to any company.
Okay.
Only internal. But like the Z-bombs, which by the way are the brick is cool. Just let's get it out of the way.
Everyone loves the brick.
The brick is freaking cool.
It's so good.
It flies like a brick. The Z-bombs, the little machete that looks like a big Bowie knife. Those are all licensed to a different company, not Nerf. And I think we're going to see dog toys.
Yep.
We haven't even talked about the Addle.
Love Nerf dog.
That's true.
We've not even brought up the Addle.
Okay, we'll bring that up.
That'll be that's got to be a video.
We'll do a video.
We'll do a
It's gotta
video
be
of that.
It'll be
Just
for
get
the next
hyped. Get hyped, ladies and gentlemen.
But there's a Nerf brand dog toys, but you're not going to see gun attachments with Nerf branding. And that to me, I think that I can see why Nerf's doing it because there's no 3D printers that have the plastic quality that can make good rail attachments. They don't exist yet.
That's fantastic and everything, but then why aren't they capitalizing on it?
That's our biggest problem.
They're just saying, no,
Okay.
not in my house.
You
You can't print it. We won't either, but you stop.
Let me try to provide a unique perspective. I work in a different industry, but the industry also has a lot of... My industry is basically the same. There's a main thing you buy, and then there's the accessories.
Yes.
Realistically, with OEM, since they do their own manufacturing,
Right.
I don't think they're willing to put in the R&D work. And I think they look at it, we would rather sell more. They probably make more money, plastic versus profit, on the blasters than they do on the accessories. I know that seems weird, but if they sell accessories for $12 and it costs them, say, $4 to make them, they only make $8. If the blaster they charge $40 for, but it only cost them $10 to make.
You're spending too much on your Nerf blasters. Just won't put that out there.
Sorry.
Mine cost less than that.
20
Like $20 for an Alpha Trooper or a Strife.
I think it's gonna. Some of it's probably there's got to
You're
be.
charging. So here's the thing: if you have a scope, which by the way doesn't work, it just looks like a scope. And I'm not even talking about the elite pinpoint sight, just the old scopes they make, which are basically just a tube.
The elite pinpoint sight actually works.
Yeah, it actually has a little laser that pops up.
That's a thing.
Yeah,
It
it's a thing.
functions.
Oh damn! I got it.
Yeah.
To Singapore.
And B.F.U. out going to eBay.
But you're charging me $10. It was well, I was capping at 10, right? For a fraction of the plastic for a mold that they already have. They just got to make it blue because they used to include them with other blasters. $20 for a big old blaster plus darts plus the magazine. They charge me $10 for a magazine with darts.
Okay.
So
Hold on, I'm coming.
Yeah, I'm
got this.
All right.
If the production line is, if that's what they're doing is producing blasters and that's what it's set up for, if they're not set up to produce standalone accessories,
But they do.
they not much.
Yeah, they used to include them in all their blasters. That's what we've been saying.
Right, they used to include them. What I'm saying is though, if they're rent, but that's producing with the blaster probably at the same time. Like the
There's
labor.
no reason to not do it.
They
They have the molds. They're like literally
telling-
just plastic.
I'm telling you, there's always good business reasons not to do stuff. Companies are greedy by nature. Hasbro's greedy.
Yeah, Hasbro is greedy. I'm not going to deny that Hasbro is not greedy.
They
But
do
are
love
greedy.
money.
They love money. If there's money, there's usually a legitimate business reason not to make money.
Well, no, there's oversights in business. So, for example, if you look at the American market, it's been on the decline for the past year. Despite that, Hasbro's had this big announcement that they want to come home, bring their main products home, and try and drive business here in the U.S. If you go overseas, over into Pacific Islands, over into UK, they're doing better because they have different business practices that are working over there. For example, they might not even realize over in the UK that pinpoint sights are a thing. They might be completely oblivious to the fact that people want them because all they're doing is they did a limited run, threw it over into freaking Singapore, over into the Pacific Islands, wherever. And it's like, okay, that's sold, whatever, it's gone. Let's not even think about it. Why would we care? Why would people want accessories? They're literally, marketers can be blind to stuff unless they're collecting the information correctly. And because you're dealing with a child's product, it's hard to collect that information accurately. Besides focus groups and test groups.
That's the other issue too. Is I don't think kids are going to be the ones buying the accessories.
Yeah, and this is the big thing.
What they should do is they should host an online store where you can buy the accessories
I agree
and do
with that.
limited print runs.
The problem is, I could see all the partnerships they have with like Toys R Us, Target,
Well,
saying,
they can-
we don't want you to sell your stuff because you can cut us out of the process then.
Yeah,
could sell
but
it for higher.
Toys R Us.
Yeah.
I mean that's the thing though. If they're not gonna, if they don't want to carry it, so you give them the option to carry it.
Right.
But I don't think the retailers really honestly.
Well, that's the thing. We have heard from sources that Hasbro has said, like, yeah, we could do stuff, and then retailers have said, no, there's not a market for it.
Right. That's the prop. So that's
Right.
what I'm
Dart
saying.
tag.
That's usually what happens, right? The retailer's like, because the retailer doesn't look at Nerf. They look at
Correct.
all their products and like, well, we got a bunch of crummy accessories that haven't sold for this. We got a bunch of add-ons that haven't sold for this.
Right.
Why is your product different, right?
Exactly.
Especially with Toys R Us and their markup.
No, I agree.
So I
agree.
think that if Nerf's going to do it, they have to get an online portal. And you could be right, Sean. They might not be able to get an online portal for the simple fact it might be retailer agreements.
they very well may have
Or like
retailer
you said,
agreements.
a cost analysis where like it costs us too much money to ship individually out to individuals, when instead Toys R Us can come to say we want to buy 50,000 units
But if
of
Toys
this
R Us
blaster.
never-
Right, that's the
agrees
thing.
to- yeah.
And then that's the thing. I'm not necessarily 100% blaming Hasbro.
Yeah.
There's clearly
There's something.
There's
in the-
miscommunication going on left and right.
Yeah, Toys R Us is saying we don't want to buy accessories from you. So Hasbro's like, well, we're not going to go manufacture 50,000 accessories
Right.
if no one's going to buy them because they don't want to put them on their shelves.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need if they can figure out a better distribution model. Here's my
Right.
question: Would you guys be willing to pay a premium
Yeah.
on accessories if they
Yeah.
were available
Well-
through Hasbro's web store?
Yeah.
Yes, Elite Pinpoint sites have been selling for ridiculous amounts of money on
No, I mean, just
secondary
retail,
market.
so-
That's what I'm saying. So if people are paying $50 for a Pinpoint site, I'm pretty sure they'll pay $20 or $30 for a
Right.
Pinpoint site.
And that's what Hasbro's got to come to realize. But knowing what I know about just working in retail in general, there's got to be something hang up in the agreement with the brick and mortar.
Well, no, here's the thing. Here's what I want to see happen. Hasbro, you need to listen to us on this one. You have a retail store in the UK. You have your own store.
Yeah,
Try putting them there.
right.
Are you talking about the Quest
sell,
store?
Yeah. If they're not going to sell in a Nerf store, then yes, I understand you going, Toys R Us has no business buying these because they're not even selling in a Nerf-only store in a market where Nerf is doing well. But obviously, this market is good enough for you to say, hey, we could have our own retail store, and we could have our own field. Let's just partner with these Quest guys. We'll make our own field. We'll have a retail section in the store where you can buy stuff. They're already talking about doing exclusives or releasing things there first. Try it out.
That's the
How
place
do we
to-
not have a U.S. Nerf store?
Because they're doing so much better everywhere except for here.
Yeah, because
Africa is a growing market, but we're not.
they're figuring out where their markets are
Well-
across the U.S. So I think you're going to see a lot of change in Hasbro in the future just because of the zombie line. That's so telling.
Right.
About they're starting to understand their target market, because when HVZ got big back in like 2009, 2010, whenever it got started,
Right.
Hasbro has about I think it's like a 2 or 3 year lag of when they design a blaster,
Makes
test
sense,
it,
yeah.
and release it out to the market. So you can tell right away the fact that Zombie Strike stuff is coming out. They're saying, you know what? College kids sure do love our blasters. They have a certain need for our blasters, so we're going to design blasters that are marketed towards them. Now, granted, a lot of these blasters aren't necessarily optimized for combat. It's more just theming. They
Right.
like the look of it for HVZ.
We're 1 out of 2.
You know.
Hammershot's good in HVZ. Sledgefire's poop.
Yeah,
I've heard conflicting reports about
All
the
right,
Sledgefire.
so we figured it out. Josh and I have figured out the Sledgefire problem.
Say it. Preach
Possibly.
it.
Okay, so Josh bought a Sledgefire. It was terrible.
Yep. 20, 25 feet max.
I was disappointed when he brought it over. He's like, look at this. Oh, yeah, it looks cool. Now watch this.
Right. So I read on the internet that some people are having bad luck, some people return theirs. I go buy a Sledgefire, and we're getting 50
Yeah, about 50.
maybe. Angled. We're getting 60-ish.
Yeah.
And that's
We're doing some
respectable
damage,
for
right?
a shotgun like
I was going to say,
blaster.
exactly.
Right.
For a shotgun,
So,
I'm
yeah,
not expecting
we're
75 feet.
excited, right? We're like, okay. So the with the Sledgefire, when you open it to pull out your shell, you prime it. What happens if you forget to pull the trigger?
Yeah. So if you open it up, take out that last shell because you got rid of all of your stuff, close it back up, you have now left the spring compressed. And you don't pull the trigger.
So
Just sits there compressed.
Mr. B.F.U. left it
Wow.
compressed overnight. Josh comes over the next day. We're excited to shoot it again, and it poops out the barrel.
Yep. Don't know
Okay.
if that's exactly the reason, because that seems really like an oversight on Nerf.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, I've
left-
messed up sometimes and
Yeah.
left the spring compressed for like weeks. And I go to the next war, I don't even notice a performance
Something
problem.
changed in
I
the,
don't know
but
what it is.
We could hear it.
Yeah.
So when you shoot a good Sledgefire, after you shoot, you'll hear the air decompress, and you'll hear 3 click click clicks from the inside.
Yeah.
We now hear it decompress and hear one loud snap.
Yep. So I don't know. I mean,
even
I don't
the
know if that
sounds
was
change.
100% what did it, but definitely there's something going on.
Yeah, so it broke one day, so I got to return it, exchange it. The thing is, at 50 feet, that thing has a place in Nerf war.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah,
spread is nice.
I would say the second real shotgun we've gotten. The first one being the Nerf, the rough cut.
Yes.
I was about to say the barrel break. I mean, that one's technically obviously a shotgun, but at the same time, I'm like, you only get 2 shots, realistically 1 shot, and you have to sit there and reload it. That's slow. I want something where I can create a spray with it. Yeah. And the slam fire on the rough cut does that. And with this guy, it's literally 3 shots going in, grouping well, but in semi different directions. You get that spread you want with a shotgun.
Yeah, it was pretty solid when it worked. The problem is it just doesn't, and no shell packs.
But I mean, this is a testament again to Sean's statement about Hasbro starting to listen to the community, say, oh, what do they want? People have been talking about shotguns for a long time, so now we're trying to create some shotguns. Right. Let's try different things, see what people like. Even with some of their the accessories, quote unquote, that they're making, like with the Sweet Revenge, everybody is saying, I really, really like that they have a holster with it. And they're coming out with another something in the Zombie Strike line, and I forget the name of the blaster right now. That has a
side strike.
Yeah, that sounds correct.
That's right.
That has a holster. So hopefully Nerf is starting to go like, cool, we can, right now we're including these in blasters the same way that they used to include stocks and, well, they still include stocks in some blasters, but sights and things like that, just other little accessories to add on, they used to include. Since the Elite line came out, we've seen very few blasters that have a lot of stuff. It's the Retaliator, and that's it.
The Retaliator comes with all the accessories, so that's kind of like, you start with the Retaliator, and then you work your way up to the other blasters.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is what's cool about 3D printing, because you can hopefully start printing out certain accessories. Like, obviously, stuff like pinpoint sights is going to be a pain in the butt to do. Right. But if you wanted to have, like, a stock attachment, a handle grip, a holder that is a rail attachment for your extra darts, like, all that can be developed very easily with 3D printing.
Those laser gnome guys, I think the laser gnomes? Did the rampage adjustment, so you can take off the handle and do an under pump, like a pump shotgun.
Yes.
Which kind of turns the rampage into almost like a...
Is that laser gnomes? Or is that the blaster? That might be blaster.de.
Might be blaster.de.
Visit all their websites. Buy all their stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're seeing a lot of stuff. And here's the thing. This is what was really getting us annoyed with Nerf, was that they were not just not doing it. They were taking it away from blasters that had it. Like the barrel break had a attachment for you to throw extra darts on.
I need to get
cool.
I still have that.
It was awesome.
Oh, word? Can I borrow that?
No.
Really?
Well, here's the thing. If I'm going to start running the Hammershot, I want that on top of my Hammershot.
You guys.
Yep.
I want it on top of my rough cut. But
I mean, rough cut makes sense. I don't know why they didn't come out with it with the rough cut. That seems like a natural accessory for it.
Here's what's... It makes sense as an accessory for it. But then they released an Elite... Well, it's not even Elite. It's just a blue Elite colored version of the barrel break, but it doesn't have it.
So that makes zero sense
exactly.
to me, because
the price...
The Raider. Here's another prime example.
They had to raise the price point, though. Because the price of plastic has gone up since the original blaster.
So it's a matter of cents, probably. It's literally something they've already developed, so it's just literally the input cost. And guess what? You can pass that on to the consumers for an extra $3.
Yeah, don't make no sense. If you had the old Retaliator, the Recon, and you had a stock and you had all of this stuff with it, and now you have the new one, it has the same stuff and it's the same price, there's no reason to not throw a tiny little accessory on the barrel break. Or the bigger thing is the what did it used to be called? The Raider. The Raider used to come with a 36 or a 35 round drum, and it used to come with the best stock in the business. It was adjustable. It was awesome. What did they do with the Rampage? They gave you 25 teardrop, which I like the 25 round teardrop magazine because it was a little bit more reliable.
Right.
Smaller, so it theoretically uses some less plastic.
Looks prettier,
but it looks nicer. No stock. At all.
Zero.
Just nothing.
Maybe in their focus group, people didn't like stocks.
People love that stock. They've always loved that stock.
Okay, I'm going to stop you real quick. We love the stock. What if Hasbro thinks their target audience is children? Children might not like the stock.
Children love the stock.
Children might not like the stock.
They might not be able to articulate that part of it.
Children like just putting... This is why Legos sell. Kids love putting things on and modifying their blast. Have you seen kids?
So what you're saying is some kid's going to pull out a Dremel and do the blaster on blaster underbarrel mods.
Yes,
that will probably happen. But I'm just saying,
if an 8-year-old cuts, listen, do not do the underbarrel mods that we discussed today without adult supervision. If you're under the age of 18,
there you go.
If you're going to use a Dremeling tool, you should be over the 18 or over, and do not have some little 10-year-old flame me in their YouTube video. I'm just saying that's a disclaimer. I don't want any lawsuits.
I'm just saying, have you seen what they do with, I'm going to add this, and I can add a stock, let me add a stock, and it makes it
One
look
of our
cooler.
first-
All right,
What
Hasbro
we
sucks,
did-
Josh. We get it.
I'm not even saying Hasbro sucks, just that this is something that clearly I feel like if they're not going to release them by themselves, at least continue to release them with blasters like they used to. Because you're getting zero. If you came in with the Elite line, nothing.
Okay, so I have an idea. Because clearly, here's what I think happened. One, Hasbro isn't asking the right people what they want in their blasters.
Okay.
Kids will say they want attachments, but the way they might be asking is like, you like this blaster? Yeah, what's the coolest part? Oh, the blaster's really cool. What else? The magazine I like a lot. Is there anything else? Oh, the back is cool too. So Hasbro is rating that back stock attachment. It could be last. Not my main point though. Going back over to it, the way they also collect the information, seeing what sells well.
Right.
So what have they licensed in the past? Cameras, camcorders, night vision
Walkie-talkies.
goggles,
Yes.
walkie-talkies.
Okay.
And they see this and like, wow. Like I've seen the same one stocked in like Toys R Us for like days.
Well, it's crap.
They're crap. They don't move. So Hasbro's like, why would we bother licensing these out other stuff if this stuff doesn't move?
I would agree with you, except for I'm starting to see all that stuff pop up in Elite Blue. So they're re-releasing it with new packaging and Elite colors.
Yeah, but once again, I'm not seeing a lot of those even in our stores around here.
Oh,
Like, it could be
I have.
we
That's what I'm
ran-
saying.
we
I
ran
just
this
went and saw like a bunch.
You gotta go to the Naughty North.
I don't know what. I'm like, why are they re-bringing this out? This stuff is terrible.
But
Give
remember,
me this.
because they're
not-
probably trying to push it as best as they can because
That's
it's not
Hasbro.
selling.
That's probably
It is not Hasbro.
It's a smaller company just throwing something at the wall, hoping it sticks.
That
Yeah,
wouldn't surprise
so
me.
the sales for that are bad. So Hasbro's like, why in God's name would we license something out again
Right.
when that did so bad? You know how we solve this problem? There's new products out for the zombie strike line.
No, they've done
Yeah.
the Zombie Strike line and Rebel have. I am color me impressed. I know the bow. I know Josh said the bows are kind of eh.
Yeah, the bows are, and the other stuff is reshell. So if you don't have it and you want to buy it, and you know you
But
want different
good
colors,
reshells, not like the same
Right.
blaster. Like the crossbow looks awesome.
the crossbow is technically it's kind of a reshell, but it functions in such a different way than the strong arm that I wouldn't even call it a reshell.
10 shots, right?
Don't call it a comeback.
8 shots?
I don't remember. Honestly, it doesn't.
yeah,
More
I
than
don't.
6 though. Right?
Anyway, back on point. Buy the licensed stuff they have about now. Buy the Z-bombs. Buy the machetes. I think if those sell well, Hasbro will see the success in it and start licensing it out to other people.
Well, the good news is my target is continually selling out of the Hammershots,
Yeah.
the Sledge Fires, the Z bombs.
Oh, it's the same for mine too. Whenever I go in my area, I never see hammer shots because they're probably selling as quickly as they come in.
Yeah.
I went in one day, they had 7 on the shelf. I came in the very next day to pick an extra one up because I want to get like 6, and
Gone.
it was down to 1.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, well, this is a thing.
Yeah.
Another thing, right? So the darts.
Mm-hmm.
Good job Hasbro on switching the colors.
Yep.
Green hits are way easier. I don't know if you guys have experienced this.
Yeah.
Hitting someone with a green dart, you can actually see it way better.
We don't
yeah.
play in the grass, so it works
right.
for us.
We're on
Yeah.
concrete. But just seeing the hit on the person.
Right.
Right. 2, I have a double-edged sword with the zombie darts. I
Okay.
love the way the zombie darts look. You know, I've waxed poetic with the Z on them. I just think it's really neat.
But they taste horrible.
Yeah. So my other problem is I don't want to use them because I don't want to lose them. I don't want them to get messed up. 'Cause
No,
they're
that's
so
good.
pretty.
That's a good problem for Hasbro because like he likes the darts so much he doesn't want to lose them, which means if he does, he's going to replace them right away.
No, I've never taken them out of the package.
That actually it's something interesting with the Rebel line, with the collectible darts of like a bajillion different designs and stuff. I'm like, dude, Hasbro, you've needed to do this for a while. Just give us darts with different colors, different
Oh, yeah.
things. Let
It's
us go
going to take 2
crazy.
seconds to paint your darts too.
Oh, I can't
Yeah.
wait for America darts.
Yeah.
Red, white,
License
and blue.
them out. You can have Hulk darts. You can have Iron Man darts. Make the tips look like
Oh,
arc
we've
reactors.
talked about this too, where it's like, why don't they have the rights to properties like G.I. Joe? Why
Pinkie
aren't you making G.I. Joe blasters
Twilight Sparkle darts.
in Nerf? They have a couple where they
Gotta
just
be-
reshelled old
There's
blasters.
got to be some weird licensing stuff. Like
They've
they're not-
reshelled up old blasters
I
and
know.
just put. This is.
I know.
Have we
Yeah.
talked about the Warner Brothers Batman argument where certain
We
area-
did.
Okay,
we did.
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean,
Tell it again because I don't think people listening right now have listened to you in the past.
So, I don't even. They wanted to put Bruce Wayne, who is the alter ego of Batman, for those of you who do not know,
Spoilers alert.
on. That's not spoilers. That's origin, son. They wanted to put him on the show Smallville, which is, for those of you who don't know, like Superman He's a teenager, college-age kid, I
Yes,
guess,
it aired on a station called the WB.
which then became the CW.
Yes, but it is still owned by Warner
Yes.
Brothers.
So Warner Brothers owns this station. They own the characters. Got all the rights to do whatever they want. But they couldn't have Batman on the show because there was some the licensing, their TV department, their movie department, their comic department, the license. I'm like, you own this. There's no reason you can't rewrite your contracts to yourself.
They do own some. So, looking in TV shows, believe it or not, they didn't own all of Smallville. They owned the distribution rights of Smallville, but the people that created the idea still held ownership. It's some
Right.
weird.
That's what I'm saying.
First of all, it's nonsense.
It is nonsense.
When you go in, you just got to be like, all right, we can put any DC character we want, and
Right.
you're not going to say no, or we're not putting your show on TV.
Here's the thing. It's not like the problem that Marvel had with Spider-Man and X-Men, where they're like, we actually sold the rights to make movies of these characters.
Right. Marvel's doing it. Oh, well, that's a whole different kind of podcast.
That's a whole other podcast.
But I'm just saying,
right there.
this could be a similar problem that
Hasbro. It just blows my mind because they have a television station where all the cartoons Hasbro makes toys for are there. My Little Pony, Littlest Pet Shop, Transformers,
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe has a cartoon again?
Don't.
That's
a low blow.
No, two things. One, they did have a show recently, and
They
two, they still replay episodes of the old G.I. Joe cartoon on the Hub.
Oh, they do?
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Oh, I need to
Three,
start watching the Hub.
Don't make me flip your laptop on you. Don't talk bad about G.I. Joe.
I love G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe's the reason.
I love Shipwreck.
I'm going to steer us back to mods.
Yes.
Have you guys? So, what's the coolest mod you've seen this week?
Coolest mod I've seen this week. Ooh, that's a good question. Go to Josh.
I know the answer to this. It's Coop. Coop.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
the
So,
answer.
Coop 772. For those of you who don't watch the channel,
dude is balling.
he did something. And actually, Bubba Lolo did this with a Stampede a while back. He even mentions it in the video.
That is my favorite mod. I think the one Josh is talking about.
It's called the Dahmer, I believe.
The Dahmer.
Which is for sale, I think, still on Coop's website for like $300 something.
I almost thought
It is. It is
Yep.
two. What are they?
Swarm fires.
Swarm fires. There we go.
Yep.
Two swarm fires. He took them apart, so it's just the internals and the big front parts attached to a rapid strike, and then rewired. So there's a button that shoots both the swarm fires at the same time, and then the rapid strike. And then he's overvolted everything with new batteries and stuff. That is probably the coolest thing. That I actually watched that before coming here today.
And he made it look like a clean integration, which is something I gotta say I love about Coop. He always makes everything look good in the end.
He does.
It's never just like I've slapped it on for functionality's sake. It's like, nope, I want it to be streamlined so it looks like this could be something Nerf can make. Nerf, look at what I've created. Now it's your turn.
Nerf will never make that blaster.
No, because freaking it's too expensive, and
And
they'd have to
super
sell
heavy.
to break even. They'd have to sell it for at least $100 or something.
Which
Nobody,
only people like
we
me
would
buy.
buy it,
Right.
but Chidlin won't buy it.
So I'm gonna go different.
Oh.
I saw the coolest mod on Nerf Reddit.
Oh.
Someone took apart a deploy.
Was it googly eyes on a rough cut?
That's my favorite.
Someone took apart a deploy, which the thing is, as much as a Hammershot is loved, is one of the most universally hated blasters in Nerf history.
Oh yeah,
And they turned a portion of it into a holster for the Hammershot.
Yep.
smart.
So we've got 4 deploys here at the Nerf depot, which is what my house has become. So those of you guys can't see it, but we have 2 5-foot tub, like 5 foot long, 3 foot deep weatherproof bins full of Nerf guns. Of the few of us who just group our Nerf guns together and we throw them at my house.
Yeah.
He says few of us, but it's me and B.F.U.
Yep.
That's
I still have
actually
mine
it.
all in my house, which is taking
And
up so
it's not
much
even
space.
it's not even all of our stuff because B.F.U. has another giant thing full of his blasters, then another one that rolls that's full of other blasters, and then I've got 2 or 3 more at my house that are full of blasters.
Don't hate on Rolling Thunder.
I'm
Rolling
not
Thunder's
hate-
beautiful.
It is beautiful. I'm just saying that's not even close to all of our blasters, and that's just you and me that put
True.
those together. And
And
that's basically just old stuff. That's
Yeah.
old N-Strike pre-Elite line stuff.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, it's that deploy thing.
Yeah.
I kind of want to do it now. And I usually try not to do everyone else's mods, but
So here's the thing. It looks cool in the picture. I know exactly which one you're talking about. And when you said mods, I was thinking of 2 blasters, and it's 2 a blaster. It's just not for functionality of that blaster. But it looks cool in the picture. I want to see a video of it working. I want to see how stable it is. I want to see how and what he did to it, how well it fits in, all of that jazz, because it looks really cool.
It does, and I'm so searching. So you guys know, those of you who are definitely going to buy a Hammershot after this podcast, because we've talked it up enough, I think, to increase Hasbro sales. Thank you. The next thing you're going to go after as soon as you get your 2 Hammershots, you're going to want to look for a holster.
Yep.
Because then you're going to want to figure out, how do I carry 4 Hammershots, and then how do I get that number to 6? 2 on the 2 behind the back, 2 under the armpits, 2 on the hips. I mean, it's that kind of gun. I mean, it's that kind of blaster where you just want to just put it wherever you can.
Which goes into my favorite mod, the magnet mod for the Hammershot.
Oh, God.
When I looked at that, I'm like, this is the smartest idea I've seen in a blaster for a long time. Just because, of course, you might have to cannibalize other Hammershots, which sounds like a travesty right now. Hopefully 3D printing gets to the level where we can just replicate the carousel that the darts go into. But the idea that I could have 2 pouches on me, one just full of the carousels that I can just swap out, and one that's empty that I can put the empty shells into. Because that is the one thing that still kind of sucks with the Hammershot. You have to reload it. It doesn't have a high capacity, but because it's open, you can reload on the fly, and there's no reason you shouldn't be keeping it full most of the time. Yes. But being able to swap it out in a matter of seconds, just pop out, pop in, okay, I'm ready to go again. That is nice.
That is really cool.
Yeah, I've actually got pretty good at reloading it with one full Hammershot in one hand and kind of cradling the gun and putting the bullets back in it, but keeping a primed Hammershot.
Armpits, man. I'm telling you, whenever I'm reloading something and Josh is like, how do you do it? I'm like, blaster goes under one armpit, grab my mag or whatever, and just start reloading it and have raptor arms for 2 seconds.
Yep. Yeah, it was funny. The game, not this last game, the game before that, where we had a bazillion rapid strikes, and I think we went through more darts than I've ever seen us go through. It was just disgusting. I think I was like, my love for Nerf was kind of on the down cycle. I almost thought about skipping a game.
Oh no!
And then the Hammershot came out, and now I'm yelling at these guys. I'm like, we need to get a second game in. We need 2 games in September.
We might. I actually planned this next game that's coming up on the 15th, a little bit sooner. So for the end of the season, we might be able to sneak in a couple extra games. Get back up to double digits for the rounds.
Yep, man. And then the last thing we figured out, this is more of a game type, right? So these guys brought in King of the Hill last time, which was, from a player's perspective, was awesome. We started doing something goofy because we had pistols, right? So you get some pistols, and obviously the next evolution of having pistols is dueling with them.
Oh, yes.
So we got the bright idea to draw some circles in the ground and pace it off and let people kind of have like, I don't know if you call it a showdown, but definitely like a duel. And we had this idea. We thought, this would be kind of, Josh and I were kind of going, we're like, this might be kind of fun. We
tried it out at Nerf Mountain.
Josh pitches to Sean. Sean was like, yeah, that would be kind of fun. These guys they loved it.
Yeah.
They ate it up, honestly. It's a great side event, because something we've noticed with our games is Capture a Flag, King of the Hill. Sometimes you get long games going on, and people are tired and need a break afterwards, but people also antsy and they want to keep going. Like, you're here to Nerf. We're playing for like 6-7 hours, so those breaks in between, people want to be like, no, let's keep going. Duels are the perfect way to remedy that.
Yep.
It's like, here, both of you, fight it out, take turns for whoever wants to play. People can rest, take it easy, eat and drink, but you can keep playing Nerf at the same time.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to bring a whiteboard this event.
Okay.
And we'll keep track of
I like it.
Keep track of wins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Create a bracket.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I just feel like we in between games, because people like to wander.
Yeah.
It's hard to get people to restart the game immediately.
Right.
Especially with King of the Hill being such a quick running marathon fiasco.
It's funny because players were I had fast players like, I love it, I get to run the entire time. I had other players like, I like it, I can move at my own pace. And I'm like, we've created a game somehow where one group doesn't feel disadvantaged. It's
that was the problem
amazing.
with Capture the Flag. People were like,
It's definitely big
Jump to the fast people. Make longer respawn times for the fast people.
As a larger gentleman, it's big guy friendly. It's definitely a big guy friendly game.
Yeah.
I mean,
there are chairs. You can sit down if you get tired.
I didn't see anybody sitting.
For now.
Did someone actually sit?
I don't think so.
I bet if we looked hard enough, one of our players was sitting. I'm not going to say who, but I think we would have players who would like to sit down in the middle of a game.
That is possible.
Yes.
And the Nerf did come out with the camera mount accessory.
Yes. Here's the thing. We're running low on time, guys, so I'm going to call it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
before we start getting into a whole different...
Oh, like, Jesus Christ, we're going to go back into the accessories talk. Josh and I... I feel like every other week we have the accessory talk with Hasbro. Like, look,
We have a petition on our website.
you are going to keep coming back after class until you start making the accessories. That's what it breaks down to.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely modding is fun. Accessories are fun. Hasbro, please come out with them. I don't know how many times we need to tell you. Other people, other blogs, start telling them.
Yep.
They don't know.
Also by the Hammershot.
By the Hammershot! Oh, God. My screen has a solid blue block for your wavelength on that one.
Someone's listening in their car. And there's what happened?
B.F.U, you may have killed a man.
I'm so sorry.
I just want you to know that right now.
Josh queued it up. He forced me.
I did.
He peer pressured me into it.
Josh
Guys,
is intimidating.
before you sign off, thanks for having me.
Dude, thank you for being on the show.
Hopefully, I'll get on. Hopefully, I'll worm my way on again sometime.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I knew that was gonna. I'm gonna have to do a Rival Nerf podcast now.
Yep.
Oh,
Call it Zingcast. You can call it TechCast.
Nope. I'm gonna go with Nerfcast Dose.
there we go.
Dosecast.
Legit.
Dosecast.
Postcast.
All right. Well, B.F.U, thank you for coming on the show. It was a blast. Always great
always.
to get your insight on stuff. You have a creative vision that I lack. Josh has it.
What?
I just come up with the names.
He does just come up with a name. That's true.
And then you get stuff like Nerfcast, Bay Area Nerf, Burn.
It happens.
Burn.
But that's about it. I think that's all the time we have for you guys. Let us know mods that you enjoy, mods that you have done, accessories that you would like to see, all that jazz. Rate, comment, subscribe.
I like how Josh points at me.
Yep, because you always say rate, comment, subscribe.
Because I look at the analytics stuff, and I want people to rate, comment, subscribe.
That's why I pointed at you, but then you didn't say it. So
Yeah,
rate, comment, subscribe.
because I thought you were going to say, Sean, you want to get spaghetti?
Maybe.
B.F.U doesn't want
I was
spaghetti.
gonna say that, but
Anywho, yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys. A couple notes before we sign off. Calendar for Bay Area for Nerf games has been updated on the website, so check
Yes.
it out if you want to play some games in the area. I know Josh and I are planning at being at the next Humans vs. Zombie event up in San Francisco State University.
yeah,
B.F.U
28th.
on the 28th?
I think so.
I thought
Something like that.
No. It's
No.
second to last. It's the third Saturday
Whatever.
of the month.
It's on the calendar. Look on the
yeah,
calendar.
check on the calendar.
It
We're
is
definitely going
both
to
the calendars on the Bay Area Nerf page, which is probably one everybody uses, and the Burn page has a calendar, but it's up on both.
So those are updated. We have a game on the 15th. It's a Sunday. Come check it out. Definitely a blast. Always welcoming new players to come to that. There are a couple games going on in the city, too, run by Foam Action Network. Always a blast to go to their games if you live in San Francisco, so check that out.
And I think this month has the return of Bridges Nerf Nights. So
Yes.
we'll see how that does. I know last time they ended up canceling the event because there weren't a whole lot of people that signed up, but it was also on the same day as a HVZ event at night, so makes sense. So sign up ahead of time so that you can keep it going. It is pretty fun out there. So.
Also, one of the reasons we have B.F.U on the show, he's going to be doing more mod videos for us as well. I'm going to put him on the spot so he's accountable for it now. He's looking at me kind of terrified.
No, I think I'm gonna move into Paint next, and then we might see some tighter integrations with some stuff. I'm gonna try and keep it creative for you guys and not do rehashes everyone else's stuff.
That's fantastic.
Well,
Once
he'll
again,
figure out something.
you're creative. I just come up with names.
Yes.
So yeah, check us out on the blog. We'll always post video updates, podcast updates, all that stuff. If you're on YouTube and you want to listen to us, I mean, of course, just type in bayareanerf.com, subscribe, you'll get us.
Yep.
And that includes BFU's videos too. You don't even have to go to a separate channel for them.
Yep. He was kind enough to just let us put his stuff up so that you guys could have it all in one easily accessible channel.
And too lazy to make his own channel.
Yes. Does take effort. So from everyone here at Bay Area Nerf, this is Sean.
And this is Josh.
And BFU.
Happy tagging.